different towns and 2 different. Oh gosh, okay. But thank you. What I'm trying to say here is thanks, John. We appreciate what you're doing. We appreciate Manny too. Okay, the special guests tonight are a couple of veterans who are working on a very special program sponsored by the Corps of Engineers, and they're going to explain this in more detail, but I'll just talk about them. They're working in a program in Augusta, and that's where the connection is here. Joshua Herrin is the Artifacts Lab Manager for the lab for the Veterans Curation Program, VCP, that they are working with. He's a double graduate from Georgia Southern University with a BA and MA in anthropology. He focuses on British colonial archaeology with an emphasis on historic ceramics and site formation processes. He's a veteran of the U.S. Army, having serving honorably as a field artilleryman. I don't know what the rest of these letters are, so I'm gonna leave those off.
Just unit designations.
The other fellow is Nathan Shores, and he's the archives manager for the program. He got his BA in anthropology from Mississippi State University long after I left over there, and is currently completing his MA in applied anthropology at Mississippi State. He focuses on Southeastern Paleo-Indian lithics. You got that over there? He's our video man. And site formation processes. He's also a veteran of the U.S. Army, having served honorably with the 220th Special Forces Group and retired after 21 years. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to you to explain what your program is and what you're doing with it.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
Okay. Start slide. All right. So I'm Josh here, and I'm the Artifacts Lab Manager for the Augusta Lab of the Veterans Curation Program. I'm here with my co-manager, Nate. He's the Artifact or Archives Manager. I'm sorry. So let's see. I'm working off of 2 different PCs here, so I apologize. So the MCX CMAC is the part of USACE that we specifically are working with. Before I start, I want to note that while the Veterans Curation Program is funded by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, or USACE, the program is managed by New South Associates. They're a CRM firm in Stone Mountain, Georgia, and all staff members, including myself and Nathan, are actually employees of New South working on the contract CP, just to kind of, suss out how it works. I say it because at the few slides here we talk about USACE and how the VCP fits into it. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about the Mandatory Center of Expertise for the Curation and Management of Archaeological Collections. That's a mouthful, so MCX CMAC is generally what we say. The MCX CMAC delivers centralized management, administration, and policy development for Corps-wide compliance with archaeological collections management. This includes curation and collection management, Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, or NAGPRA compliance, forensic and cemetery investigations, museum programs assistance, archives, records, and knowledge management, the Veterans Curation Program, us, historic preservation, and cultural resources contracting. This list is by no means exhaustive, as the MCX CMAC expands and contracts to serve the ever-changing collection and curation needs of the United States Army Corps of Engineers, as well as other DoD, federal, and state agencies. Let's see. So the ball started rolling in the 90s with the enactment of 36 CFR Part 79 and the Native American Grave and Repatriation Act, NAGPRA. Federal agencies are now responsible for adhering to basic standards for the long-term management of archaeological artifact and document collections, meaning now they had both a legal and moral responsibility to take care of these to the best of their ability. In addition, their collections were subject to NAGPRA and needed to be inventoried. The 2000 Collection Condition Assessment Project. Due to the inaction of 36 CFR 79 and NAGPRA, USACE started the process of researching, locating, and fully assessing the collections that fell within their stewardship responsibilities. MCX CMAC contacted over 800 facilities to determine who held USACE collections. As stated in the slide, well over 150 repositories were identified, 166 to be exact, through a combination of site visits and correspondence. The MCX team were able to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and see the picture, which was a very big picture, it turns out. There were over 150 repositories, like I said, 166. The artifact volume was 47,832 cubic feet, and the archives were 3,634 linear feet. Some collections were deemed at risk, not curated, or stored in compliance with current federal curation standards, which is when the MCX CMAC would come in. And I'll turn it over to Nathan for a little bit.
All right, so how were these collections generated? Beyond the management of construction and design for the DoD and other federal agencies here and abroad, a large part of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers mission relates to the management of waterways, whether that's through the construction and operations of locks and dams, the regulation of lakes and their public use areas, or the flood protection systems. Starting in the late 40s and continuing through the late 80s, the U.S. saw a large number of large-scale public works projects. And for example, the Tennessee Tom Bigby waterway. So this waterway was constructed in between 1972 and 1984 to provide an additional corridor for the shipment of goods to the Gulf of Mexico. During the cultural resource mitigation of this project, the 234-mile-long corridor was surveyed and over 900 archaeological sites were investigated. The collections generated from these investigations were housed at the University of Alabama and Mississippi State University. And they sat there largely undisturbed until a collection's condition was assessed. So you can imagine if one of these public works projects like the Tennessee Tom Bigby waterway could generate so much material, we can start to see how a lot of cultural materials began to build up in the USACE curation facilities over time. And this story is repeated again and again, and these collections from these projects were often at risk and largely inaccessible for research to the public. Josh? Oh, what? Yeah. Okay. So we have a problem that the USACE needs to now address. So in comes Dr. Sonny Trimble. He was a Corps of Engineers civilian archaeologist. He was sent in 2003 to excavate the mass graves in Iraq. During that investigation, he worked with deployed soldiers that helped him with the excavations. And after coming back to the U.S., Dr. Trimble took on the task of bringing the Corps' very large and increasingly at-risk archaeological collection up to federal curation standards by creating a plan for its rehabilitation and organization. So Sonny was impressed with the soldiers he worked with overseas and thought the veterans provided a significant contribution to the archaeological investigation in Iraq. So when these soldiers came home, they reached out to Sonny and said they were interested in continuing to work with him, in the future. So Sonny began to develop a plan to tackle the Corps' curation problem, and he kept these veterans in mind. So enter the VCP, Josh. Next slide. Veterans Curation Program. So this is the brainchild of Dr. Sonny Trimble. So we have 4 flagship labs: Augusta, where Josh and I are from, Alexandria, St. Louis, San Mateo. Then we have 2 satellite labs. These are smaller labs, and they are at Fayetteville and San Marcos. And those are at Texas State University and the University of Arkansas. Next. All right.
Okay. Is this my?
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Josh.
Okay, I couldn't remember. So as we previously, the MCX determined there was a large number of collections within its stewardship responsibilities that were at risk for deterioration and loss of context. This is where the VCP comes into play. USACE districts and the MCX identify these at-risk collections, and they were sent to one of the 4 facilities I'm not sure how it works with the satellite labs like Nate was talking about. If they come straight from USACE or if they come from the university's stuff, but they're sent to one of our facilities for rehabilitation. Upon arrival, the VCP managers conduct an intake assessment and determine a processing plan that meets the needs of the collection. So, artifact rehabilitation. The VCP facilities, use processing standards developed by the MCX. These are ever evolving. They've changed actually during mine and Nate's short time at the VCP. We want to preserve all the original information from the original bag labeling to the original association between bags and artifacts. That's one of the tougher things that we definitely deal with is bagging structure. VCP technicians process the collections box by box and bag by bag, sorting artifacts according to a controlled vocabulary of material classes and artifact description. Each artifact description receives an artifact ID. Rather than replacing any analysis previously done, these description and artifact IDs allow us to kind of place a scaffold over, what's already there. And in doing so, we have the means to create an electronic catalog. All the original information is retained, but we're able to create a searchable catalog using our vocabulary and labeling structure. Additionally, during processing, we're rehousing all the materials into archivally stable containers and reorganizing these collections if necessary to increase their accessibility. And you can see here in the top right, we have non-archival containers, overpacking, compression damage, unknown components, acidic storage. And then after, in the bottom, we have archival containers, Ziplocs, descriptive labeling, proper storage, increased searchability via databases, and collections management reports.
All right, records rehabilitation. So by education and training, I'm an archaeologist and mainly a field archaeologist. When I got with the VCP, I moved into their archives department. And so what happens with these archives is much like what we do with the artifacts. The VCP also rehabilitates the records collections associated with these archaeological investigations. This can include field notes, field sketches, photographs in the field, the field notebook from the individual archaeologist will process that. Oral history transcripts is a whole array of things that we do that's associated with the archaeological investigation. We rehabilitate all of that as well. So if necessary, these documents are resorted into a record series commonly associated with the archaeological investigation. So the administrative background, field analysis, all that kind of stuff, and the actual report. We say necessary because sometimes collections come with an efficient organizational scheme, and we don't want to change that. If it comes from the repository, already well organized, we're going to keep that system. But if it doesn't, like some of the photos you see here, then we'll reorganize all of it. Beyond arrangement, we create asset descriptions and assign document asset numbers. Again, this aids us in an effort to create a digital catalog that is accessible and searchable. So VCP technicians conduct rehousing and cleaning and mending of these documents to preserve and conserve these collections for long-term storage in accordance with archival curation standards. So preservation being is any action taken to stop the deterioration of an item of these documents, while conservation is any action taken to reverse the deterioration in damage that's already present. So we try to fix damage that's already present, and we try to preserve it for long-term storage. Next. All right. So in addition to those searchable catalogs or databases, we capture a representative photographic sample of significant artifacts from all the artifact collections, with the exception of collections or artifacts that are associated with NACRA. We cannot photo those. So we refined our photography process over the years to develop a more advanced technique and methods to capture museum and forensic quality images. Many of our technicians say that the artifact Photography training is their favorite part of the program. It's intense. It's a lot. It's quality images and quality training in that part. So for the archives of the collection, we digitize all the documents and photos, any photo they take in the field, any documents that they write up in the field, and we connect them to the physical documents in the database through asset numbers. The final project of our VCP processes are collections that have been fully rehabilitated, digitized, and have accompanying searchable catalogs. Next.
So speaking of techs, you may be wondering how we actually train veteran technicians to accurately and efficiently process artifact and document collections. This is one of my favorite parts of the program, is actually, teaching the archaeology and the curation. I know Nathan and I both enjoy it. We'll ramble on about it for hours and get so off track. It's crazy. One factor are the VCP processing methods. So some of the methods, we have hands-on training and activities. We just actually started a new one this past session for artifacts, where we would create sample bags that the techs would process from beginning, and instead of us just showing them how to do it. So they hands-on got to do it without any fear of loss of context or provenience. We have processing guides. These two pictures you see here, VCP folder elements and material classes, those are actually printed out on the walls. The technicians can walk up to them and look at them to use them. And co-learning and peer review. Excuse me. We occasionally get technicians that come through that are either budding anthropologists, have finished their ABS in anthropology, whatever, and want to go on and some more archaeology, maybe get a master's. So they're really good peer mentors. We have a technician in the lab that is acting as a peer mentor. He went through the program last session and stayed on. This kind of a new thing for us. And then we have the peer review process, where someone will sort a box, then another technician will get that box and go through the exact same, make sure they don't catch any errors. So it's a really good system for them to get to practice a lot, for them to get to QC each other, and for the collection possible quality curation as it goes through several different checks and balances. So the benefits to the participants. One half of the program is teaching the veterans archaeology and getting them to process the collections for curation. The other half is we provide them paid time, basically to look for jobs and work on their resumes. Our end goal is our two end goals are, like Nate said, produce fully realized curated collections with searchable databases and accompanying photographs. And then the other veteran careers, help their transition into civilian life, and even possibly move them on to higher education. So we have, there's a supportive, adaptive work environment, professional growth and development support, which we call PGD, transferable skills, for myself, and I'm pretty sure Nate agrees, civilian work clamoring for artillerymen. So my Army skills did not transfer. And they do that by things like, or some of the transferable skills are management, collections management, records processing and management, photographic and scanning technology, computer software and proficiency, and then just a basic knowledge of archaeology and history.
All right, some of the successes and accomplishments of the program. So there's been over 793 veterans that have participated. There are 42 veterans currently participating in this session. We have at our Augusta lab 9 veterans, 10, I think, including the holdover, the peer mentor. So 92% of those veterans have obtained employment or continuing their education upon completion of the program. Over 490 collections from 22 USACE districts are being or have been rehabilitated at federal standards. Over 1,890 cubic feet of artifacts and 155 linear feet of archival materials have been processed. So that's a lot of work that's going through these programs, through these labs. Next. So post VCP placement. So we take these veterans on and we teach them how to work in an archaeological lab. And we help them with their professional growth and development. And afterwards, or even during their process, that 5-month session, we hope that we assist them in moving on and either furthering their careers or education. So a lot of those placements is a wide range of fields they see here, including IT support, accounting, farming, nonprofit, other veterans organizations, museums, government contracts. Even within our own parent company, New South, we have hired some of the veterans that went through the program as well. So that's our goal, is supporting the vets and processing the archaeological collections.
So for this slide, if you look closely in the top left here, you may recognize two very famous archaeologists, Josh Herrin and Nathan Shores. This is actually at our parent company, New South's Archaeology Day. It's a really cool thing. It's in Stone Mountain every year. What we have here is that one of our training exercises we do with our techs is basically an excavation unit, how to show them how to map provenience since we can't dig in the lab. We try to be involved every year at the parent company stuff, but some of the ways you VCP, like and follow us on social media. You can attend one of our meet and greets, and I actually just got the invites today. I'm going to send it to you guys for July 20th. You'd be able to walk through the lab, tech show you how they do stuff. We can show you stuff, just talk about archaeology. That's the best part. We take applications year round. We hire twice a year for the 2 sessions. So if you know anybody, they're a veteran, send them our way. We've recently changed up our hiring.
And you don't have to be a recent veteran.
Yeah, we recently changed it up. You had to be a post 9/11 veteran, but now it's anything. I believe it's post 1991 or post 1990. I'll provide you with the exact numbers. Mm-hmm. If you're hosting an outreach event like tonight, I'd love to attend. We love talking about the program. You can't shut us up about archaeology. And for some more information, here's these links. We have a Facebook and an Instagram. Mm-hmm. These are our project manager and our assistant project manager, as well as our outreach coordinator. And of course, you always have me and Nate anytime. But other than that, that is our president.
Any questions?
John, okay, great. Any questions?
You had answered 1 or 2 of the questions I had already, but I was wondering, you're actually placing these people when they graduate? You have, what did you say, 2 programs a year? How long does the program last?
So I'll answer it, Josh, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So we don't place the veterans anywhere. We help them continue advancing their job opportunities and their education. So we work with them with their professional growth and development. We'll work with them with their resumes. We'll help them apply for jobs. And we have a lot of contacts, Josh and I, and the VCP as a whole, with different hiring companies and different places they can work. So we're always getting job opportunities coming in. We pass those along to the veterans. As far as education, we stay in touch with the local universities. Both me and Josh are familiar with our universities and that whole system, so we can help as veterans that have went through the education system recently. We can help them go through that as well. So we don't place them. You're not guaranteed. We're not going to say, hey, you go through this program, and when you're done with this, we have a job waiting for you. You have to do that. You have to put forth the effort to do that yourself with our help, of course. And we're going to provide you with tools to help you along the way to do that. As far as how long the sessions last, they last for 5 months at a time. And within that 5 months is when we work with them on all that, as well as processing the archaeological collections for USACE. And during that 5 months, the veteran technicians, if they find a job that's suitable for them, that they would like to move on to, that's what we're looking for. We want success for the veterans. We want you to take that job, interview for it. We want you constantly interviewing for jobs and moving forward with your professional goals. The same thing with education. If they leave early from the session to pursue advancement in education, that is our goal. Our goal is to help them in their professional and educational lives.
Do they get a salary when they are in the program?
They do.
They are paid, yes. Mhm.
Yep.
They're paid hourly. So I always use the tagline, you know, when I'm doing outreach or talking to anyone, like, you're getting paid to look for other jobs. You know,
Right.
you can't beat that with a stick.
Yeah, yeah, you are now, and the company that's paying you is helping you find another job.
Yeah,
that's great.
So, yeah.
I got a question about searchable databases.
Mhm.
How is that available to either academic or any other
Okay.
public, or how's that available?
So how that works is you would have to go through USACE and the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers, Archaeologists, and you would have to request access to those databases because some of those databases contain NACPR items and sensitive items such as that. So students would go through their normal channels where they request access to the collections, and then they either approve it or not, and then they're able to access it digitally. You know, so we have these on a drive, and the curation facilities, once we rehabilitate it and digitize all of it, we send all that to the curation facility as well, where the students or researchers, professors, or other professionals have access to those databases as well as the artifacts after they've been reorganized, repackaged, and rehabilitated. Josh, you got anything to add to that?
No, that covers it pretty concisely. I will say we do have some non-NAGPR stuff. So if anyone does plan on, you know, presenting research, it's always worth asking for permission. Nate and I are actually using a collection that we helped process and analyze to present some research at a couple of conferences this year. So it's always
USACE owned.
Yes, it's a USACE owned. So it's always worth asking. You know, best advice I ever got in life was worst thing they can tell you is no.
Yeah.
A different question, if I may. You mentioned the 10-ton waterway. Is that project completely done now?
Yep.
Well, you'll find my name on some of it.
Yeah.
I was in charge of about 5 different contracts in the 4 years I was there. And I'm glad to hear that that's been handled.
You may know Janet Rafferty or Evan Peacock then that were out of Mississippi State. Yep. Janet Rafferty was still there for about a semester when I got there. And
I helped to hire her. She was hired there while I was there.
Okay.
She was a very impressive lady. I was very much impressed with her.
She's smart. Yeah. She's a good archaeologist, or she was. She passed away.
Yeah, I thought she had.
Yeah.
It always it surprises me how small of a community archaeology is. For example, I quoted or I used a lot of resources from Dr. Joe Joseph, you know, in my thesis and a bunch of graduate school stuff. And now I work for him and he shows up to all our events, and it's Joe, you know, it's just, and then, you know, we're working on a project now with the Tom Bigby stuff that you worked on. It's just always amazes me how small and tight the community is.
Okay.
Well, you'll be pleased to know we have just a massive amount of archive records, oral history records, and artifacts from that project that we've been going through and rehabilitating. I mean, it is a lot.
Where is the 10-ton material stored now?
Right now, it's at University of Alabama, Mississippi State University. That's the facilities where they're stored. But we're rehabilitating the collection, so it's right now it's in Augusta.
I think we have 79 to 86, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We don't have all of it. Yeah.
No, we just have.
Oh, and then what we
Martin
have
didn't.
is massive.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
What we have takes up 50% of our storage.
Yep.
So it's a lot. Yeah.
Well,
900 archaeological sites on that project. I mean, amazing. And this historic and prehistoric. So,
we were creating something that was gonna be a canal 100 yards wide and however many 300 miles long. So it's a big operation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let me ask you
go
about
ahead.
where the records are available. So if you get permission to go and look at the records, like say for the Tom Bigby thing, can you look at them remotely or do you have to go to the location
It would be in the lab. Mhm.
in the lab?
Yeah, remote is very, just because I know, if there's any NAGPRA consideration, that's a no-go, but the way I was explained, and Nate, if you might, and the way Andrea Farmer from the Savannah District explained it was you'd request what you wanted, say the Corps says, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says, yeah, we'd basically allocate some space for you, you'd come in, do your work, and then that would be it.
But you can access some of the photographs and digitized parts of it if you're approved to access that
Oh,
remotely.
okay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
haven't had
Offline?
anybody request since we've been
Mhm.
there, so.
You can request some offline or I mean, online remotely, or you have to be there for everything.
I think I'm not sure, but I think you can access it remotely. I'm not sure. That's something we need to
Yeah, we
make
can
sure
get
the
you an answer.
USACE.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm saying yeah, but I don't want to be wrong here, and that's
Yeah.
that's a USACE. That's a USACE answer. I don't want to speak for the U.S. Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
You know.
I wanted to ask a question about this July 20th event y'all discussed. Where is that going to be?
So it'll be at the Augusta lab. It's I'm gonna send you guys first thing tomorrow. I'm gonna send Jack the email and the invitation. It's at 1450 Green Street in Augusta. We basically, the techs will set up at a station. They'll walk everybody that comes through, like how they do it, what they're doing. We provide refreshments, and the managers talk a little bit about everything and, mingle with everyone. It's a cool opportunity for everyone to come see exactly how it works in real time.
That sounds like a neat trip.
Sounds like a good trip.
Yes.
But yeah, we'd be happy to have you guys.
And I was thinking when y'all asked, where was that Tennessee Tom Bigby collection housed? And I said we were working on it. Like Josh, I just got thinking about it. We're only working on the THTP, the historic township project, which was just one little section of that, which is
Mhm.
what 200 and some odd boxes of
208 boxes.
yeah, just for that one little area. And that was Monroe, or what counties? I think maybe Monroe County or something like that. Yeah, in Mississippi. Yeah, it was just like, but one county, one little area of that project's 250 box or 208 boxes of artifacts and archives. So
Well, it was a heavily occupied area prehistorically, almost constantly. So there's a lot of material coming out of there.
oh yeah. When I was in Starkville, you could walk down any creek in Starkville, Mississippi, and find prehistoric pottery and projectile points and stuff as you walk. You're coming out of those ag fields, washing into the creeks and everything. So between that, the prehistoric stuff around there, and the historic stuff, I mean, it's massive. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember walking along the highway and picking up all the beer cans.
Mhm.
There's a general sort of blanket of beer cans all the way out to the edge of the county.
Yep. There's some history for you.
I lived on a real big farm when I was a kid, and I never even thought about finding artifacts. And I remembered I never told this story. When I was in college, I was 19 or 20. I went to a doctor. He asked me what I was going to school for at Georgia Southern. I said archaeology, and he gave me I forget what they're called. I think it was a war bond or something, but it was a coin made from a captured German cannon. So now I got to remember to tell that story every time I tell people I never picked up artifacts on our family's property. I just remembered that.
I can't say the same. Before I was an archaeologist, I was watching Indiana Jones and picking up artifacts.
Yeah. I always feel
I
left
still
out of that.
do. Actually, I still do. I mean,
Yeah.
Anybody else have what other questions?
So what's ultimately gonna happen to the natural material?
That is a big question.
Mhm.
The ultimate goal of NAGPRA, the actual act itself, is to repatriate all of these items. The hard part is determining what is NAGPRA, especially, or what falls under NAGPRA, especially in the Southeast, because I mean, this is ground central for the Trail of Tears. So there's very little undisrupted tribal activity left down here. I believe going north, it doesn't really get set in until north. Then you got the Seminoles in Florida, and then going west, that's where everybody was pushed. So it's hard to determine what is NAGPRA. Now, once you've done that, it's up to the tribe to basically tell you, hey, we want that stuff back. We want to take care of that stuff. Sometimes the tribe might want you to curate it because you're better equipped to do so. Almost, I'm going to say 99.999%. If it's human remains, they're going to be repatriated and reinterred.
Yeah.
But if it's burial goods, like there's stuff like shell beads, effigies, stuff like that, it gets a little hinky. Yeah, pottery, because one of the collections we have has thousands of ceramic sherds. The associated tribe may not either have the capability or the desire to curate that. So then it will be up to the Corps to determine where that goes, how it gets curated, and what happens to it after it leaves us. So there's no real good answer for that. I'm still learning NAGPRA.
Yeah, the ultimate goal is repatriation to the tribes, but that's not necessarily, I mean, that's not always a possibility.
Yeah.
That depends on the tribes.
I gotta ask about the shake and bake shirts.
So Nate, everybody calls me the ham, but Nate likes to deny that he is also a little bit of a ham.
Yeah.
We decided to form a team. So if you've never seen the movie Talladega Nights, there are the two friends that basically save the day by, they're shake and bake. They're the one shake, one's bake, and they're just a goofy pair. And we like to have fun while we work. Yeah.
And they work together. It's one shake and one's bake. So
we like to have fun in the lab. It's boring if nobody's having fun. So we started being shake and bake, and it started out as a social media post and just snowballed from there.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know that was a bit silly, but I do appreciate it.
Well, we realized when you ask for a picture of both of us doing stuff in the lab, we realized when it gets to like training, me and him just shoot off to opposite ends of the lab. So it was hard to find one. I thought
of us together, in the lab anyway. Yeah.
So we have to spread out to cover all the text.
But that picture does illustrate with the VCP sign in the back very well. So that was good. I'm really disappointed the newspaper didn't use it. I really am.
Well, we appreciate you trying. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Well, I think we'll be in touch with you about the July 20 thing. I would love to be able to take a group over to see.
Awesome.
We'd love for y'all to come out and visit during our meet and greet. It's pretty much an open house. Come see what we do. We'll give you some food, some coffee, some sodas, water, whatever, and show you around and introduce you to our technicians. You met Josh and I, and we have some assistant managers you can meet there as well.
This is a good one to come to. This is the largest class by far that Nathan and I have been a part of. My first session was 4 or 5. The second session was 5 or 6, and then bam, we got 10.
Yeah.
So
How many do you normally have in one of these classes?
We got a skewed perspective because we started during the COVID stuff. So we've had very small numbers, but
Four and five, maybe
Yeah.
6. Yeah.
this past hiring season, we really put the gas on and made it a priority to kind of expand outreach and contacts and stuff. So 10, they've had as many as 16 in the Augusta lab.
Well, and also now the 10 that are there, it's a selection process for the to be selected for the program. So we had more than 10 apply, but
At 24, I believe.
Yeah, but we have to narrow it down to the veterans that fit the program and that we feel like fits the program and what it's doing and that needs the program. And so we have to make cuts through that, and then you're down to these final 10, and those are the ones we bring on. And then it was even less people when earlier in the program where it would have been 4 to 5 or 6, So.
Well, I guess you have a limited space for people too, don't you?
Well, we have limited space and funding. So we're working just like anything with the government. We'll work off of how much money the government will give us to hire, because we pay these veteran technicians to come on. We pay them an hourly wage. We take them on field trips, stuff like that, and we pay them pretty good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
With Nate saying that, shameless plug, the absolute best advertisement is always word of mouth. So we take this program very seriously. We're one of the few labs that now 2 groups of managers in a row has been all veterans. So we take it very seriously. It's important to all of us. I don't make any extra money by saying, please, please, please tell anybody that is, relative to this program about it.
We won't get a bonus.
Yeah. Our goal is to grow, to help more veterans, to help with the curation crisis.
Yep. Yeah, we genuinely care about archaeology and being veterans. We care about other veterans. So this to us was something that was just a natural fit, I think.
Well, thank you very much. You have made a great presentation and a great impression on us.
Thank you.
We appreciate you inviting us. It was very, very fun to talk.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.